Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to Inputs, Outputs, Keycode Media's series giving you short technical tutorials for production, post, and audiovisual industries on topics you care about. Today, our topic will be editorial management, bridge the gap between Avid and Adobe workflows. I'm your host, Jeff Sangpil, the Chief Technologist here at Keycode Media, and I'm streaming live today from our Keycode Media Chicago office. We're going to keep the introduction short today so we can move quickly onto our interview and demo from the Avid Technology folks. Ray Thompson, the Director of Broadcast and Media Solutions Marketing, and Michael Krulik, Avid's Video Product Evangelist, will be joining the show to get into the latest integration between Avid Editorial Management and Adobe's editorial software, Premiere. Before we get to the Avid team, I thought I'd give a quick introduction as to what we're about to see. Editorial management is really about creating efficiencies for your small to mid-sized post-production teams. Right now, you've got assistant editors, creative editors, and post-producers juggling files, bins, links, and folders. In our perfect world, all these people are collaborating and using their on-premise shared storage, not creating duplicate files, and sharing bins and sequences with all the appropriate media online. Not. And this is a pre-2020 problem. The reality is, teams are not that organized. Files get duplicated, or even worse, media just goes missing. The whole team is passing around a copy of version 3, a copy of duplicate, this sequence that's been modified by each person in the process. Avid's editorial management was built about 2 years ago to help address this exact issue. Through a standard web browser, the entire team can access and organize projects, bins, sequences, and media located on an Avid Nexus shared file system. So, in theory, you could have AEs previewing and organizing media, prepping string outs, shot lists, and sequences, or tagging searchable metadata that can then be accessed by other editors, colorists, or team members in real time. So when you boil it down, it provides a central hub for your entire production team to collaborate in. Available in that standard web browser or as a panel inside your media composer. And now, with the latest update of editorial management, creative teams can use these powerful media management features within Adobe projects, bins, and sequences. Let's take a look at this. Now, a quick warning. There are some limitations to this product. Avid Editorial Management will only work on Avid Nexus storage. It's currently limited to 25 seats total, although we're being told that that's going to be expanded very shortly. And it does require a server installed at your facility connected to your Nexus. Editorial management is an on-premise product, but it can be accessed remotely by using a remote client like HP Central, Bebop, or Teradici, or that simple web page connected through the company VPN. Okay, let's dive into this demo. Just a quick reminder, if you've got questions throughout the event, shoot them over on the YouTube, Facebook chat, or the Vimeo chat embedded on our website's page. Where's the transition music? Now. All right, let's get started. First of all, how about a little Media Composer Editorial Management 101? Ray, here you've got just the thing to inform us on what it is we're going to see.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I share my screen a little bit?
Go right ahead.
All right, perfect. So today, just a real quick overview of the products you'll see in the demo that we're about to do. So first and foremost, editorial management, which is Avid's browser-based tool set that enables access to content sitting on the Nexus file system from either the browser or from within Adobe Premiere Pro. We'll also be talking about the editorial management panel for Adobe Premiere Pro, as well as the connector, which is working in the background to enable accessing that content. And then, of course, we'll be talking about Avid Nexus Storage. Of course, Avid Nexus Storage is a full portfolio of storage available from Avid. And what's great about it is you can actually build out storage that's really designed for your needs. And so when you're a small to medium post house, you want to be able to, first and foremost, think about what your storage strategy is going to be. And then you're going to want to be able to make sure that fits into your budget. And Avid really offers ways for you to do not only online, but nearline, and of course, extending out into the cloud. So what are the main drivers for Avid in terms of this interoperability with Adobe? It really focuses around a couple key components. First and foremost, as sort of viewing habits have changed, this had a tremendous amount of impact both to operationals and economic impact on media companies. So you now have a more distributed workforce. Certainly post-COVID, that has only gotten increasingly more important, being able to enable folks to work from home. People want cross-platform access from third-party tool sets to a shared set of storage. They want to be able to search for and find media very quickly. They want to then edit and share that content very fast. They want to not have to worry necessarily about different media types and the wrappers that are involved. They want to be able to access that media from anywhere, ideally a browser-based access. And then they ultimately need to deliver to a growing number of partners. And at the end of the day, what they're trying to drive is higher efficiency, enabling greater collaboration and a faster time to market. So what exactly is editorial management? Editorial management was really rolled out by Avid a couple of years ago, and it is designed for post-production workflows. And it really enables you from a browser to be able to browse, search for, find, access, and edit content very fast. It was really made so that you could basically do multiple processes at the same time and create projects and create folders and prepare content before the craft editor ever actually works with and sees the content. This again speaks to the efficiency of using editorial management inside of an Adobe Premiere Pro environment. You also have phonetic search, which is an Avid specific tool set that enables you to search for and find content based on the spoken word. And that is also an added option that you have when you use either editorial management or using editorial management inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. And what this does is this allows either mixed environments where you have Avid and Adobe sitting on Avid Nexus infrastructure, work with media and do so very seamlessly, or you can have an all Adobe environment accessing the Nexus file system using editorial management as a panel inside of Adobe to then search for and find content and then bring that directly into the Adobe post-production editing system and then work with it and then further share that back out using the same tool sets. And that's all available right within the editorial management, right in the panel, and right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro.
Thanks, Ray. We've had the 101. I think we need to get into the advanced courses. Michael, what's going on in terms of what you want to show us about MediaCentral editorial management?
Actually, it's a variety of things. I think the important thing that we want to see and talk about is, the integration with Adobe. Editorial management has been out there for a while. It's something that, again, we don't want, asset management to necessarily be, intrusive to the editorial process. So it is working off of Nexus. It is using Nexus workspaces. There's no checking in and out. Basically, everybody is just working, whether you're working in a Media Composer environment with Avid or you're working in an Adobe environment with Adobe Premiere Pro.
All right, that sounds good. Let's play this first clip.
And we are aware that small to mid-sized post-production teams and rental facilities are constantly looking for the most efficient and effective way to collaborate on-prem and remotely, in addition to not disrupting the editorial process, but to enhance it, especially when looking to incorporate an asset management system. Avid's Editorial Management is an intuitive and inclusive asset management system that introduces the Avid platform to post customers that is easy to use, install, and configure. It is completely integrated with the Avid Nexus storage and enables teams to preview and search for media, pull selects, review, and create projects from anywhere and more, using just a web browser, Avid Media Composer, or Adobe Premiere Pro. That's right, our continued partnership with Adobe is taking us to new levels of collaboration as we have added editorial management as a companion app with Adobe Premiere Pro. We'll be showing more of that shortly. Let me start off by showing you the heart of editorial management, and that is the Nexus Shared Storage System. If you were not aware, Nexus stands for the Next Generation Intelligent Storage. Besides adding more physical storage to Nexus chassis over the years, we've enhanced workflows allowing clients to define what workspaces they want to mirror and protect, as well as extend the Nexus file system to the cloud, offering Cloud Spaces, a SaaS-based offering to offload projects and high-resolution files off of your local system to free up local storage. Recently, we've added the ability for your Nexus administrator to assign specific workspaces to be seen and indexed when using editorial management, with the Nexus whitelist. Using the Nexus admin web tool, adding users to the Nexus whitelist provides security and efficiencies to editorial management. And we also offer full support for software from Avid, of course, Adobe, Blackmagic, Apple, and now VFX workflows with Autodesk.
So Nexus, I mean, it's the Unity file system that's been around for a long, long time through different iterations. It looks like you've added some new things there that enable editorial management to work a little better that weren't there in the past in previous products.
Well, yeah, I think what you want to take into consideration when you are working on an asset management system is, do you want to look at everything on your shared storage, or do you want to limit? And knowing that you do have permissions that you can set up on a Nexus or workspace, the new editorial management Nexus whitelist is just a nice way to say, here's a set of storage or workspaces that people can go in if they have permission to see, and it's not going to look at everything. So it's just limiting what you're searching through. So you don't have to search through the stuff from 2 years ago. You can limit that if need be. So it's just allowing more control, which is something that Nexus has been known for.
And it lets you have more than one show on the same Nexus if you've got a system that's large enough.
Correct, exactly.
Very cool.
And also with the Nexus cloud spaces, again, that's really important because with all of these large file types and projects that just start to get full, you can use the cloud spaces to offload all of that into a workspace in the cloud that's on your Nexus system. Again, it's a subscription. You can subscribe to your cloud spaces and send stuff up there and offload it off your local system.
Is editorial management able to see media that you have in your cloud spaces?
Well, cloud spaces is a Nexus thing. So you'd be able to see it in Nexus. You wouldn't be able to play anything. The idea is just to offload it. And then if you needed it, you would download that back onto your local Nexus workspace.
So it'll let you know that, yeah, I've got this, but you're going to have to wait a little while for it because you're asking for something special this season.
Right, exactly. And also depending on the size. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the next clip then.
So I'm in Los Angeles on my Mac laptop, and I'm using Chrome to log into an Avid Nexus shared storage system that's in our headquarters in Burlington, Massachusetts. So obviously, you can be anywhere. I've logged into Editorial Management, where I have tools allowing you to browse or search for media across all projects and workspaces that you have permission to see. If I log in using my credentials to access all of the Avid Media Composer media and projects, since that is what was assigned to me by the Nexus and EM administrator, you'll see that the Nexus workspaces that I can access are here on the left side in the directory panel. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Marjorie Sachs, a software quality engineer at Adobe, to help me on the Adobe side. Thank you for joining us again, Marjorie.
Hi, Michael. I'm happy to be back to show you the new integration of Adobe Premiere Pro with Avid's Editorial Management. You will see when I log into the web browser using my user settings, I am assigned permission to only see the workspaces on Nexus that provide what I need for my Adobe environment. And across the top of the web browser, there are apps where you can browse and search through your Nexus storage. Other apps allow you to view progress of renders going through the distributed processing and other processes, as well as using the customized logger. So if I browse in the editorial management system in the Browse app, it lets you view projects and media, and you'll see that the structure mirrors the bin and folder structure of my Adobe Premiere Pro projects. The icons are different than what is used for Media Composer projects and bins, so I can easily identify what is a standard folder with media, what is a Premiere Pro project, and what is an Adobe production. And if I want to view any of the media, I just double click and the asset is loaded into the media viewer. I can play the clip in a resizable viewer, or if I want a better viewing experience, I can select the full screen playback icon to see the clip in full screen. Now, I don't right now, but if I did have a second display connected to my laptop, I could also have the clip sent full screen to that second display. It's very cool as it gives me a better viewing experience of the media, but it still lets me navigate the editorial management web browser.
So Marjorie, you can also have multiple instances of the apps in the UI as well, right?
Yes, that's right. If you right-click on the app, there is a feature that lets you create more instances of the apps, and then you can drag them down into the main area of the UI to dock them. Then you can open different folders and drag media from one panel to another. It's a great way if you're working remotely and through a web browser to organize and start prepping folders with media that can be ready for editorial. Searching through the Search app, it provides filters that you can pinpoint specific media or assets by typing in names or custom metadata. And I could also filter my assets by the time modified or the time created, as well as the exact file types. And then you also have shortcuts for favorite searches, which I love, and the most recent searches that you have executed. I know that I have some skater footage that I want to preview, so searching for anything with the name skater will give me these results. And with the phonetic search option with Editorial Management, you can type in a spoken word and it will produce results where it believes it found a match where somebody said that particular word.
That is the same phonetic searching that is done with phrase find in Media Composer. But this one will actually search across your entire Nexus storage system, or the workspace, of course, that you have permission to see. This is an amazing feature when searching through hours and hours of interviews or documentary footage.
Since I am in my Adobe Premiere environment, I can right-click in the directory panel and create a new folder to organize media. I can start a new Adobe production, or I could create a new project from the Adobe Premiere template. Now, I already have a great set of templates created from several other projects, and I'd like to use one of them as a starting point for this new project. Selecting to create a project from a template allows you to choose from a list of current templates, and you can see a breakdown of the entire template structure. This way you can scan through the hierarchy to see if there is one that you'd like. You can add a title for the new project and you're all set. And you will see the new project created and is ready to go when you access Adobe Premiere Pro. Another great thing is you can also create a template from existing projects if you right-click on it and then select Create Template from Projects. It's super easy.
All right, that's some great functionality there. So question one, so I want to get into MCEM on my web browser, but I'm outside the company. How am I getting that initial connection into the system to be able to just type in what I need in the web browser?
Well, the idea of the web browser is it can be accessed, anywhere, but you do have to VPN into your corporate network. And there is some security. We don't necessarily want everybody to be able to log into a web browser and look at anybody's media who's working on it. So I would VPN into the corporate network, and that would give me access to the Nexus that is connected there through, there again are permissions. It is users that are set up through Nexus that are required to be able to see any of this.
So we will definitely have to make sure company IT is on board and knows what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We don't want anyone showing up at our house saying, "What are you doing?" So the next thing that was really cool there is getting into search. So, well, before we get to search, that's just one of the apps. How many apps can you add there, and what are other people developing apps for the platform?
I think more apps will be developed. If you look at our asset management production asset management system on the high end, and enterprise level, you can get all sorts of apps that allow for ingest and other services as well. Currently, editorial management doesn't have that. Possibly in the future. I don't want to talk about futures, but possibly there. But you also have other tools even outside of editorial management that you could use to bring media in and transcode or create proxies and then upload it to the Nexus at the facility and utilize it in editorial management. So there's a multiple workflows depending on what you need to do. But you are limited at this point to, in the web browser, to mainly being able to search and browse your media. Again, distributed processing is offloading renders or other tools to actually utilize systems that are currently in your facility that aren't being used, so idle systems, to be basically offload any of that extra work. But mainly, again, editorial management is designed for different roles. If you're not an editor, if you don't need the tools to be actually be able to go in and edit inside of Media Composer or Adobe, but you still want to be part of the process where you can look at media, you can, go in and search media, you can, view rough cuts and things like that. That's the great thing about this tool. Or for the assistant who needs to go in and prep stuff for the editor, like being able to group clips, which is something that's not new inside of editorial management, but we added being able to group by time code now. You can't play back a group, but you can at least create the group, and then when the editor opens this up in the edit bay, they'll be able to see any of that. I think I went ahead of some of the stuff we were talking about, but again, editorial management is a sort of a lightweight asset management system. But again, if you don't need to be in a full editing system, you don't have to be. You don't even have to be licensed on the editor's side if you're not using the panel in Media Composer or in Premiere. You could use that license on the web browser. So again, where do you need the license? Where do you need the control? Where do you need to be able to collaborate?
Awesome. So if you are in the browse section and you're moving, it said that it imitates the folder structure from Premiere.
Correct.
Projects. If you're moving something from one folder to another, is it creating a copy, or is this just a metadata representation inside of MCEM?
Depending on what you're doing, it could be creating a copy. So if you do have some media and you have moved it into another folder, depending on where it's going, it could make a copy, but also if you're inside of the project, it could just be creating a pointer. So it depends on how you are manipulating the media.
Understandable.
But the nice thing, just going to say, the nice thing about the folder structure with Adobe is the nice thing about those are templates. I don't remember if that was discussed in the video or not at this point.
It was, and that's the thing that's cool, because it used to be that you had to get usually a set of assistant editors together to build the perfect template to then be the template you would use for all other projects. And, those turned into different pieces. Now you just go back and say, oh yeah, episode 201, that was great. Let's use that as the template. That's now 202, 203, 204. So that's a very cool feature that saves a heck of a lot of busy work.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're working on, commercials, if you're working on cut downs, if you're working on, some sort of trailer or something that you have a set, bumpers or audio or, sound effects or something, you can actually build that library as a template in an Adobe Premiere project. And all you have to do is say, all right, I'm going to take what was already created and create a new project based on all of that, and everything is ported over.
Cool. So in the search feature, it looked like you could search, well, there's the phonetic search, so it was discussed. And then there's metadata search. So is that being able to search the metadata that came over from existing clips inside of Premiere, or is that additional metadata?
Correct. Yeah, actually, it's metadata that came over from Premiere. So it could be names, it could be date. You can actually define and pull down when you're inside of the search window a whole series of different things you want to search, which it could be markers, it could be phonetic, it could be defining, if you have 30 projects and you only want to look at the media from one project, you could say, choose a specific project and then search for media inside of that. So you can actually do compounded searches to say, I'm looking for the name of something in a project that's actually more specific.
Or
and all of those can be saved as well. So that in the left directory panel, you could say, I like this search, I want to save it, and that can be saved for future searches.
Awesome. So we could search for you saying the word phonetic, which is going to be more important than me saying the word phonetic, because you're talking about the features. I'm just asking questions. I think that's all we got on that section. Let's roll this next part.
That's extremely easy, and it's all done in the web browser. And how is this accessed in Adobe Premiere Pro?
Well, you have the editorial management panel available to you in Adobe Premiere Pro. You will see that the browse and search apps there are available from the panel while in Premiere. So let's take a look for some clips to bring into the editorial. I can browse through projects and folders without going to the OS level on my system. So let's use the search app to find the skater footage. So now we see the results populate in the panel, And I right-click on the clips that I want to use and select Import into Adobe Premiere Pro. I can also create Adobe templates from the panel that can be accessed in the web browser.
And the whole team can be accessing and playing media in the web browser while the editors are in Adobe Premiere Pro, which is fantastic.
So the panel looks like all the other panels that are out there, but I get the impression that if I'm connected via VPN back to my company, and even though I've only got certain media locally, what's going to happen if I open up the panel that's looking at the Nexus and I start pulling media across? Is it going to slowly pull that across to my system?
Don't think of it that way. That basically Marjorie was remoting into an Adobe Premiere project, which was at the facility in Burlington.
Okay.
So yeah, don't get confused by that. I mean, the idea of the web browser itself, you basically can log in anywhere. But since you're going into a nonlinear editor, you basically, whether I was in Media Composer or Marjorie, who was in Adobe Premiere, would use ZCentral from HP or another remote capable type of system or way to remote into a nonlinear editor, and then bring up the panel inside of that. Again, depending on the roles, you may have noticed that the panel that Marjorie had inside of Adobe Premiere only had a few apps, whereas in the web browser, you saw more apps across the top. So basically, depending on how you're connecting into editorial management is going to display what apps you basically would need in that process. Because inside of the editor, you mainly want to browse or search for media. You don't need to really do anything else. But outside of it, you want to have maybe some more functionality.
That makes sense. You've got the power of a nonlinear editor. Why do you need to do it all in this small section? That, yeah, bigger, better, faster, stronger.
Right. The nice thing also is you do have the tools inside of the panel, but different than the Avid Media Composer panel inside of the editor, you have to right-click on the clip inside of the Premiere panel in order to import it into Adobe Premiere. So a little different way to work, but again, this is the first instance of connecting in and using this panel effectively with editorial management. So it's working well, and we know it'll just grow.
It will, and when we talk about the future, sometimes we're talking about feature requests. So you never know what can come from these sorts of things.
Right.
I think we're about to jump into what the functionality or new functionality might be inside a Media Composer. Let's take a look at that part.
Now, there's no need to actually check in assets into editorial management. This allows everyone to just do what they do: organize, review, edit, and collaborate. Let's jump into Avid Media Composer and see how editorial management can benefit teams in an Avid environment. I can also access it from a panel within Media Composer, just like I could in Premiere, which can be docked into the new UI if desired. And I have the exact same apps available to me as you saw inside of Adobe Premiere. Once I browse or search for assets here, I can simply drag and drop them in the bin, and that brings that asset into my Media Composer project. This could be a clip or even a sequence from a different project. But the benefit of adding editorial management to your production team is the added functionality for the producer, assistant, or anyone who is using the web browser to be part of the process. The directory panel shows my workspaces with Avid Media and projects. And just like with the Adobe Media, I can play the clip in the asset viewer. I can see and control audio levels for playback.
It probably takes about 15 hours out of my week. I mean, it speeds up my process that much.
I can view Avid metadata for the clip. And I can even add markers and comments to the media that will be seen on the clip by the editor that is accessing it. When you select clips that you may want to group, you now have a new feature that lets you create the group through the web browser that are set by the start timecode, allowing an assistant to prep that grouped clip for the editor. And for the producer who wants to create a shot list or rough cut for the editor, selecting the clips and right-clicking lets you create that shot list that can be seen in the timeline view. That gets saved. You see it up here. And when I double click, it lets you see the timeline. Now here you can go in and trim the clips. You can rearrange them to new positions in the timeline. You can even go in and subclip your media and add any of those clips to that shot list. And once the shot list is saved, it can be seen by any others who are actually working through the web browser, or can even be opened up inside of Media Composer. The Search app with Media Composer Projects lets you search across the Nexus library by clip names, metadata, or markers, and using the phonetic search option lets you see where the words are actually spoken in relation to the media through the Hits tab. If I go and do a phonetic search and find where maybe somebody said the word film and the word director, you'll see the inline hits if you select this icon here, and you can also see where they said it in the timeline.
Film, and let's say I'm a director and a producer in the room, and when we were on film.
But underneath the viewer, you can also see where the phonetic hits are. I can mark in, I can mark out, and drag that clip into my shot list. And save. Now back in Media Composer, I can browse the bins for sequences or use the Search app, and I can drag and drop it into a bin and see what was created from the web browser.
All right, so as I thought, Media Composer, something we're all familiar with. The question I've got here, and someone's going to come along and ask it if I don't, so let's knock it out now. What versions of Media Composer are going to be supported by this version of MCEM?
Well, Editorial Management has been available for several years now, so even before the new UI. But I think if you start looking at things like Adobe Premiere, this is running with the latest version. I think Adobe Premiere 14 is what we're supporting this in.
Very cool. So if you need MCEM functionality and you're in the middle of a show and you haven't upgraded yet to the new UI, yes, you can still use it. So the other question I had while watching both sides of the Premiere and the Composer side is, what file types are supported? Are there any file types that are not supported? So like if I show up with a bunch of our 3D footage, some red stuff, is that going to be able to be seen and processed and played?
Well, inside of Avid Media Composer, you most likely would have to transcode it to something that could be read in the web browser, of course, if it's not a supported format. As far as the Premiere workflow, we are supporting OP1A, MXF, and MOV file formats at this point. So just be aware of that.
Very cool. And I saw the grouping. Grouping it's still same timecode type, or is the different timecode types that Composer supports available there yet?
Oh, well, the way that we're grouping inside of Editorial Management is if you are in Media Composer and you mark an endpoint on your media, in the web browser, you could say, I want to select my clips and group them by the endpoints that were created in Media Composer. But if they're matching time codes, then you could now say, new with 2020.10 of Editorial Management, you can choose to group it by the time code instead, which we couldn't do before. Now, It's just making the group. So just so you know, it's making the group so that when you open up the group clip in the bin in the editor, you would see that group there.
Yeah, playing back the group is going to be a heavy task for a web browser. That's 4, 9, however many multicam
just
streams.
a little plug. We can actually do that on the asset management and production management systems, but we cannot do that in editorial management.
Very cool. And I saw the whole timeline view. So it's got a more editorial type of look and feel. So it seems like maybe the days of multiple producer stations kind of scattered about are going to go the way of just stations with web browsers.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I do want to point out also that the shot list and sequence creation is done on the Media Composer side. If you are in an Adobe environment, you can play and see sequences that were created in Adobe Premiere, but you don't have that same functionality with trimming and creating stuff on the web browser side like you have in Media Composer yet. Again, this is the first iteration. Again, Media Composer and Editorial Management have been doing this for a while, but we are moving into more functionality, even stuff that we're finding now with Editorial Management and Adobe Premiere. And you still have the ability to take AAFs from Media Composer and open them up in Premiere. So you do have that exchange as well.
Cool. So there's media types that'll open up in both panels.
Mm-hmm.
There's AAFs that'll open up in both panels. So that gives you the ability to pull that into a Premiere project at that point, or vice versa.
Yeah, at that point, you're just working with it in a Nexus environment. So if you have it on Nexus, you'll be able to utilize it.
Awesome. All right, getting into the next section, which is going to be what we're going to play right now.
So Editorial Management keeps teams in sync with easy access to media and projects across your entire Nexus storage system from anywhere. Whether you're an Adobe environment, whether you're an Avid environment, you have a choice. So this was just a quick overview of the latest tools and features in the 2020.10 release of Avid's Editorial Management and the addition of the Adobe Premiere projects and productions to the platform.
All right, so we've seen all the wonderful things that we've come to know and love between Editorial Management and Media Composer. We're excited to see the start of this journey down the road of collaboration with Adobe and their products. And right now, we're going to be really excited if folks are going to kick over some questions about any of this. So Vimeo chat, the Facebook chat, the YouTube comments, please submit your questions there. We'll try to get everything through as we can and as we have time. And let's get to the Q&A.